Jack's runes changed to a subdued magenta. Fine, I'll just sit here like an inanimate object. That actually got a laugh out of Sam. She had uncovered her hair, as she often did in Valhalla. She told me that she considered the hotel her second home, and the Einhar and Valkyries part of her family, so she didn't feel the need to wear the hijab here. Her dark locks spilled around her shoulders, and her green silk scarf hung around her neck, shimmering as it tried to activate its magical camouflage. This was a little unsettling, since every once in a while Sam's shoulders and neck seemed to disappear. "Does Alex Fierro bother you?" I asked. "I mean, her being transgender. Like, with you being religious and all?" Sam arched her eyebrow. "Being religious and all? A lot of things bother me about this place." She gestured around us. "I had to do some soul searching when I first realized my dad was, you know, Loki. I still don't accept the idea that the Norse gods are gods. They're just powerful beings. Some of them are my annoying relatives, but they are no more than creations of Allah, the only God, just like you and I are." "You remember that I'm an atheist, right?" She snorted. "Sounds like the beginning of a good joke, doesn't it? An atheist and a Muslim walk into a pagan afterlife. Anyway, Alex being transgender is the least of my problems. I'm more worried about her connection to our father." Sam traced a lifeline on her palm. "Alex changes shape so often, she doesn't realize how dangerous it is to rely on Loki's power. You can't give him any more of a hold than he already has." I frowned. Samirah had told me something like this before, how she didn't like to shapeshift because she didn't want to become like her dad, but I didn't understand it. Personally, if I could shapeshift, I'd be turning into a polar bear like every 2 minutes and scaring the shizmir out of people. "What kind of hold are we talking about?" She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Forget it. You didn't fly after me to talk about Alex Fierro, did you?" "True." I described what had happened on the battlefield. The dragon, the way Loki had invaded my head wearing an offensive tuxedo and inviting me to a wedding. Then I told her about my dreams and how apparently this marriage just happened to be Sam's to some bar-owning, walrus-voiced giant named Thrym, who served the worst-smelling pickles in Jotunheim. Some of this Jack hadn't heard yet either. Despite his promise to remain inanimate, he gasped and cried, "You're kidding me!" at all the appropriate spots, and some of the inappropriate ones too. When I was done, Sam stayed quiet. A waft of cold passed between us like a freon leak from an AC. Down below, the cleaning crew had moved on. Ravens picked up plates and cups. Bands of wolves ate the leftover food and licked the floors clean. We were all about hygiene here in Valhalla. "I wanted to tell you," Sam said at last. "It all happened so quickly, it just came crashing down on me." She wiped a tear from her cheek. I'd never seen Sam cry. I wanted to console her, give her a hug, pat her hand or something. But Sam didn't do physical contact, even if I was part of her extended Valhalla family. "That's how Loki's messing with your personal life," I guessed. "He came to see your grandparents, Amir?" "He gave them invitations." Sam dug one out of her pocket and handed it across. Gold cursive on green cardstock, just like the one Loki had tucked into Uncle Randolph's pocket. "The incomparable Loki and some other people invite you to celebrate with them the marriage of Samirah al-Abbas bint Loki and Thrym, son of Thrym, son of Thrym. When? 5 days hence. Where? We'll get back to you. Why? Because it's better than doomsday. Gifts are welcome. Dancing and wild pagan sacrifices to follow." I looked up. "Wild pagan sacrifices?" "You can imagine how that went over with my grandparents." I studied the invitation again. The when section shimmered. The 5 slowly fading, turning into 4. The where section had also had a holographic sheen, as if it might eventually change into a specific address. "Couldn't you tell your grandparents this was a prank?"